Hi guys, so tonight we are in Sanananda on the northern beaches. So we had a pretty easy flight this morning. So up at 4, down in the lobby at 4:30. Just had a light breakfast, left our suitcases, gathered all our things and hopped in the bus with Killer Eddie off to the airport. We arrived at the airport and we just pretty much was straight through, so it was really good. So no delays, which is fantastic. Boarded the flight. The only thing we did have was when we were backing out, we had a small little issue where the fuel tank was still open. So back in we went, closed that up, and then we were on our way. Best flight, 25 minutes. We were up and then we were down. Landing was smooth. Popondetta Airport, not a lot to it, so it was very basic. Pretty much there was a guy handing the luggage through a little small window on a roller conveyor belt. So that was about it. Could have probably grabbed it ourselves off the tarmac, but yeah, that's the way that worked. We then boarded a bus. So we then got into a bus and we then travelled to the city of Popondetta. We went to the market and we just got to have a look around, sort of see Popondetta itself. We bought a couple of flavoured twisties, so sweet chilli, cheese and onion, hot and spicy, some really odd flavours. So that was interesting. We then, from there, we then hopped back onto the bus and we made our way over to Sanananda where we are tonight. Said it was an hour bus trip, was more like 2. Felt like 2. Bit rough, but it was okay. By the time we've got to Sanananda itself, we crossed the river, which we potentially could have walked across, but that's okay. We hopped into boats, took our boots off, hopped into boats and travelled across. It's just the way that they did the welcoming ceremony was a little bit different to the way they normally do it, so that's why it worked that way. We walked into the village and were officially welcomed by the local community in their traditional dress, and it was phenomenal, really emotional. So they were singing and dancing and all the elders were there doing the whole lot. It was amazing. Yeah, I was starting to get a little bit teary actually, because it just sort of represented their culture so much, and you saw how much it meant to them. That was really good. So we then sort of chilled out in the village a little bit, and we had some snacks and some lunch, and we'd made really good time today, so no delays, it was all on time. We then hopped in some boats and we travelled down to Boona. That was interesting. It was a bit rough. There was a bit of a southerly up, it was interesting. We broke one of the seats, which was made out of driftwood, but that's okay. We sat on the floor of the boat. And when we arrived at Boona, we were able to see some old war, pretty much planes that had crashed. It was an American plane that had crashed, a wing, engine and parts, and there was a couple of plaques, and there was a synagogue there of obviously what divisions had fought in Boonagona and Sanananda was displayed. We then walked down the track, they said 2Ks, I think it was longer than 2Ks, through the bush, and we actually, the famous photo of the Kokoda track where there's a fuzzy wuzzy angel holding the injured Australian digger, we walked in that, literally in that area, so that was amazing. So I've got a photo of that and I'll upload that later with the video that I'm going to do. We then went into the old airfield and we were able to see where they had the bunkers for the planes, and we ended up seeing then a anti sort of big gun that was like shot by the Japanese to stop our planes coming over and wrecking any of their defences prior to us getting to the beaches. So that was amazing. We did see a snake, nearly crawled up one of our girls, Cassie's leg, which was okay. It was not dangerous, so that shot off into the bush. We then trekked back and we ended up going to the community centre because we had enough time, and that's where we saw a lot of old like grenades and armory and helmets and eating bowls, and it was amazing. So they're still finding relics to this day that they're adding to the collection, and that was really, really cool to see. And you know, how preserved it was, and it's still finding that stuff. So then we pretty much hopped back into the boats, and we travelled a little bit further up to a place where we end up seeing where the Japanese actually had their defence bunkers. So 44-gallon drums, and it was literally another one. Like, it was crazy. So if you were trying to come through, would have been crossfire going everywhere. We met a really colourful character on the track. He was part of that community, and he was telling some stories. I didn't get it on video because I wanted to see the experience, because I didn't know if I was taking him seriously or not. And he was saying that the Japanese, literally the track that we walked on was where the Japanese ran up with their guns up that, and that's where they then headed up to Kokoda. So that was really cool. We then hopped back in the boats, and then we end up seeing a Japanese barge boat that had been destroyed off the beach. So we've seen the wreck is still there and quite visible through the water. And then hopped back in the boats. We came back, just chilled out. Really had a nice afternoon. The locals put on a market. We all bought some things, and I gave the kids football. They loved it. They've enjoyed that on the beach. We had some dinner, and we're all sort of pretty wrecked. It's around 7:30, and we've all pretty much had a day. So we're gonna go to bed and start again tomorrow. Late day tomorrow, so 9 o'clock probably get up and sort of chill, for 11 o'clock set off to Guna. So we're going to go with 2 boats up there with all our bags, and then we're off to pretty much to Popondetta after that to stay tomorrow night. Alright guys, I'm getting infested with bugs here, so I'm going to check out, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. See you. Bye.